Hey everybody, Glenn from Thrive After 50. I welcome you here tonight. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you taking some time out from your busy day here. Tonight's topic is something that's near and dear to me that I'd like to talk about, and it's our health. Okay, health for me is just one of the most important things ever because, frankly, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything, and it doesn't matter how much money you have, how much land you own. It doesn't matter how happy you are. If you're not don't have your health, you're not going to be very joyful is what it comes down to. And our health is the biggest predictor of premature death in the world. Our low fitness is more so than smoking, drinking, or obesity, and that's something really to think about and take into consideration, and it's a fact that exercise can add extra years onto your life just by getting out there and getting movement. So I guess the first question to answer is, what is health? Okay. And according to the World Health Organization, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. Now that's important to hear there. It's not just physical. It's your mental, it's your social, it's your overall view and how you feel about things there. That is important. And I would like to say that your health should be your new full-time job. That's one of my favorite sayings. Health should be your new full-time job. And why do I say full? Because I think it's something you need to take into consideration on a daily basis. And it's not just the movement, it's what you eat, it's what you drink, it's how you move, of course, it's what you do to bring joy in your life, it's your social life, it's a lot of things wrapped into it, and that really entails and fills up your whole day here. So that's why I think it's your new full-time job and ought to be and to be treated like that. So I ask you, how are you feeling? Are you feeling drained? Are you feeling sluggish? Do you find that it's hard to get out of bed? Do you have a reason to get out of bed? Is there something that's driving you? Is you finding yourself pretty much running out of gas mid-afternoon and have to take a nap? Hey, naps aren't bad, especially if you get up real early in the morning. I mean, I do that myself, but there's a bit of a difference between getting up and pushing and then maybe having lunch and then having to take a quick nap or something just to regenerate, as opposed to just feeling despondent or sad or just kind of running on empty there, and then trying to revitalize yourself there, or finding that you just fall into a depression there. So so I ask you, how are you feeling? How is your health here? And what are you doing on a daily basis to stay healthy? Are you socializing? Are you getting out there? How are you feeling? Mentally, physically? Are you challenging yourself there? Are you still growing? What's your stress level like? Are you pretty much stressed all the time and it kind of drives you crazy, or is things going okay there? And I ask you, if you had 3 times more energy than what you do right now, what would you do different in your life? I'd love for you to put that down, and just mention what that might be. If you had 3 times more energy, what would you be doing differently? That's interesting to think about there. And part of my task tonight is to try to give you some ideas as to how to generate, more energy and get rid of those aches and pains and the sluggishness of the mind here. So we have lots of different choices, and movement is really important. But one thing I want to just talk about here a little bit is our diet. Diet, I think, is as important, if not more important, than exercise and your movement. What you put in your body is kind of a summation of how your body's going to act and react. If you put lousy fuel in it, you're going to get kind of lousy production from it there. So I encourage all of you to be really, really careful, as to what kind of fried foods you're doing, how much meat you're putting in your body, sugar foods, the desserts, all that sort of stuff. Be really, really careful with all that. Water is what our body is mostly made of here, and water is what you should be drinking and replenishing yourself often with that. And furthermore, the Food and Drug Administration, a lot of people on the board of those things come from Monsanto, and I don't think they have our best interest in mind. Unfortunately, the corporations have a huge voice in what is put out there on the market, and processed meats being one of them. Processed meat is considered a carcinogen by the World Health Organization. So really think about that, on the same level as cigarettes and what was one of the other ones there? Asbestos. Just some crazy things there. So, the more research you do, but the point is you got to be really, really careful what you put in your body here. So, and don't just trust, without doing your own research there. So anyway, solutions. Okay, again, we've talked about the movement, doing your cardio, your resistance. At our age, as we start getting older, I think the biggest thing to take into consideration is our mobility, flexibility, our balance. Like 87% of all fractures occur from falls as we get older here. So, and what I like about the mobility is that, the ability to move in any direction spontaneously and dynamically. And, that's really important. If you trip over your dog when you're walking, or trip over a stump or a rock or something like that, stub your toe and go flying. I mean, the ability to be able to raise that leg and put your foot out there, or catch yourself with your hands, that's just so important to good health there. And, so you've got to build that strength there. And again, I focus on those first, the fitness, the mobility. There are fitness videos there. Actually, I have a few myself that I'm coming up with, but there's all kinds of programs out there that you can research on the internet. Some of them are free. You can join a health club, but again, get out there. This should be your daily job. It's interesting. I work at a health and wellness facility for the hospital right now as a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. And we open at 5 o'clock in the morning. And every day there is probably a group of 10 to 15 seniors that are right there at 5 o'clock in the morning. And you can count on them every day of the week. These are people who are give a damn about their health and are really doing something about it. And it's just amazes to me. And then I've also seen the people who come in with their cell phones and get on for example, a treadmill, and just go at such a slow pace as they sit there on their cell phone. They're not putting any effort into it. And what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it there, obviously. But and a lot of these people, like I said, they're there every day. 5 days a week, I would say. So get yourself involved in classes, get yourself involved in anything you can. And it doesn't have to be a health club. If money is an issue, or it's just an inconvenience, or you live too far away from one, get outside. I mean, use your body weight as resistance for you, doing squats, lunges, walking. I know push-ups can be a little difficult for some people, but again, just flexibility things, stretching, lengthening those muscles, all that stuff you can do right at home on a mat for nothing. So do try to, definitely, again, this is part of your full-time job here of doing this. The organics, that's really important, again, because of the herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, all this stuff that is found on food. As we ingest this stuff, we all have it in our bodies, but if we can pick and choose not to have it, we're going to be much further off there, I think. So you pay more now and pay less later, as opposed to saving money now and then having big hospital bills down the road, and possibly premature death because of things too. Watch your portions as to what you eat. I like to eat multiple times a day. It's, a small dinner, but either my breakfast or lunch is one of the bigger ones, and then I might just snack throughout the day, and I just really enjoy doing that. Grabbing some celery, carrots, some nuts, different things like that. There's all kinds of things, and that's all really healthy too. And again, if you have a big appetite, a good thing that you can do is drink water like a half hour before you eat or so. Just giving it that amount of time will give you a feeling of fullness to some extent, so that you won't over consume and feel bloated and stuff like that. And that's part of it. You've got to know when to say, okay, I've had enough there. Put it off the side. Take it with you. If you go out to a restaurant, take a doggy bag, do it the next day here though. But use common sense there. That's I know common sense isn't always common, but that's important to do. So challenge yourself, challenge yourself to get out there and push yourself. Challenge yourself to eat healthy foods, getting enough sleep. You should be getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, a night. Anything less than that, you're going to start getting a little cranky. Now, if you're getting less than that and you're taking an hour nap in the afternoon, that's okay. It was Thomas Edison. I think he was the one that would just pretty much be up 24 hours, but he'd be taking naps continuously day and night there, and just to revitalize himself. And that's one of the great things about napping there. I know I had my own personal struggles. I've always been fairly fit, and exercise has always been an important part of my life. But the one thing I really didn't put much attention on was my diet there, and my cholesterol levels showed that. I have family history with high cholesterol levels, and heart disease and all that sort of stuff, let alone the cancer. But it wasn't until I changed my diet to kind of more of a water-based, plant-based diet, cut out the meats there to a large extent, stuck with the fish and vegetables, and cut out any kind of juices and stuff, where I went from I was a consistent 225 overall cholesterol, 225 to 230, regardless of how much exercising I did, cardio, anything like that. Once I changed my diet in a year, I went from 225 down to 169, in overall cholesterol. And that just shows you the power of that. And I've stayed at it consistently. And, I don't deny myself. I still go out and I'll get an ice cream here and there or so, a small one, or I'll take a taste of something, but I just don't overindulge, and I don't do it very often there. I'll still drink, beers here and there and stuff. But again, I think it's just tolerance and common sense here as to what you're eating, because it just doesn't agree with you there. It really doesn't there. So anyway, I guess I want to ask you, what can you do to benefit or to make your health better here? I'd love to hear some of your answers. I mean, what could you do to commit yourself? What could you commit yourself to doing that might raise your health level starting on a daily basis? Maybe it is drinking water and cutting out the pops. Maybe it is focusing more on the vegetables than the meats there. Maybe it is getting out for a walk with your dog, or exercising more. I mean, there's so many little things that we can do. Again, that's why I say exercising is a full-time job, or not exercising, but your health is a full-time job. So, so I ask you, what can you stop doing, and what can you start doing? Two good questions to ask yourself here. And I encourage you to do that, and to work on your mobility, your balance, your resistance. Your resistance is really important. I've never been, a bulk muscle sort of guy. I've never really cared about the six-pack abs so much, or running marathons, or that sort of thing. I've just always have cared about being toned. I like the long and lean look better than the bulked up and muscular, you know, in particular for flexibility there. So, you know, but the resistance is really important, especially as we get older, because, you know, osteoporosis, it builds your bones, it makes your bones stronger, and osteoporosis is something that's a real concern, particularly for women as we get older here. And just, you know, like a personal trainer I know that's been doing this for like, you know, 30 years or so, he says the first thing he notices in people is that it's the arms and the legs that start going, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, that sort of thing. And, you know, by doing those weight resistance things, or, you know, the curls, I mean, anything with weights will give you more resistance and something to work on there. So that's really, really important there. So go ahead and fill up some water bottles, do your biceps, your triceps, you know, whatever it might be there, and your squats, your lunges, your crunches, different things like that, whatever you can do there. That's really important. Now here's something that's really interesting here that I came across. And I think this might give you hope here, if nothing else, is that men who took up exercise in later life had health outcomes that were nearly equal to those of men who exercised consistently since their youth. And that's from a 2009 study from the British Medical Journal. To me, that's absolutely incredible. That's absolutely incredible. That's basically saying if you've never exercised a day in your life and you start doing it, you can bring your level of health and all your readings and all that from your blood tests up to where a healthy person who has been exercising or nearly equal to a person who's been exercising all their life. That's worth thinking about and considering there, and it should give you a little incentive, if nothing else. So I ask you to challenge yourself. I ask you to get out there and do something for your health, for your mind, for your spirit, for your well-being, you know. And health, as I said at the beginning there, it's also your mental and your social well-being. You got to challenge yourself mentally to grow, to challenge, to have something that you're working towards. You know, reading. What is your hobby? What is your passion? What do you want to know more about? What could you grow into that you find of interest there? And start stepping in that direction there, and do that. And the same thing with being really social there. That, you know, loneliness is one of the biggest challenges that elders have as they get older. Is that you know, sometimes their health starts failing, or their spouse passes away, or they just get lethargic. They find themselves more comfortable sitting in front of a TV than they do out exploring or going for walks, you know, things like that. And they find themselves kind of isolated. And that is really, really sad, and that can really have just such a negative effect upon your spirit here. So be social, get out, find some music, go out and listen to music, go out for a drive in the country there, whatever you can. Go down to the coffee shop and work on your computer. Go out, you know, to sporting events. Get out and meet people. Call up someone. Get out and do something there. So that's just really important. So anyway, another what I guess I'd like to leave you with here is this is a quote from Herophilus, who is a Greek physician from 325 to 280 BC. So this goes back a long ways. Now, and I quote unquote this: when health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself, art cannot manifest, strength cannot fight, wealth becomes useless, and intelligence cannot be applied. Now that's one wise dude there as far as I'm concerned. I'll read that one more time. When health is absent, wisdom cannot reveal itself, art cannot manifest, strength cannot fight, wealth becomes useless, and intelligence cannot be applied. And that's one wise dude there, you know, from way back when. So anyway, you gather some of that wisdom, that you have. We all know what we need to do. It's just that we choose not to. And, be an influence. And one thing I want to point out here, one of the benefits, long-term benefits, I don't know about you, but I recall my grandparents at my age, and, I'm 66, at my age, being very old, looking very old, acting very old, dressing very old. Things have changed so much nowadays, but that's kind of how I grew up viewing what old age would be like. I'm so glad that I've kind of shattered that for myself and not fallen into that trap there, but it's easy to do here. So if you can, redevelop yourself, find the energy that you want, bring health, all around health into your body here. Think what kind of influence that's going to have upon your children and upon your grandchildren who see you. They're watching you. They're seeing what you're doing. They are formulating their ideas of what eldership is, by what you're doing here. So if that is an incentive, I don't know what is here. So anyway, I wish you nothing but the best of health. I want you guys to get out there and take care of yourself. Tap into that wisdom you have and that strength and get out there and just do some really great things. But you need energy to do it. We need energy to do whatever it is there, and lots of it. So Glenn from Thrive After 50 signing out. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.